6, da? Inside of rising, 4 paired nervus trochlearis, single nerve among all cranials, which arises on dorsal surface of the brain, on the level of frenulum veli medullare superioris. Do you remember this? The fourth ventricle, it has
roof of the fourth ventricle
it has
resembles the sail, hence it's called
this roof. Velum medullare superioris on the level of frenulum, which lies between inferior collicles. On this level arise from both sides this thin nerve, nervus trochlearis from nucleus trochlearis, and then surround from both sides pedunculus cerebri and appears on the base of the brain from the lateral side. Single nerve which don't directly arise here like all others. It starts from dorsal and surround and appears from lateral side of pedunculus. 6 pair arises from transverse groove between pons and medulla oblongata immediately above what structures?
Oliva.
No, olivolateral. Pyramis, above pyramis. Like 2 horns, above pyramis, through transverse groove between pons and medulla oblongata. 3rd, 4th, 6 pairs. And altogether they pass through. Inside the skull cavity we have the sulcus caroticus here and plexus venosus cavernosus. Around these arteries we have venous plexus. Through this venous plexus, this nerve passes into the skull cavity, orbital cavity, and innervate. What muscles? By exception, lateral rectus lateralis, which innervate. It is innervated by nervus abducens. What function has lateral rectus? Musculus rectus lateralis.
On the sides.
Abduction. What nerve innervate? Nervus abducens. Abducens will innervate rectus lateralis. Obliquus superior, this muscle, which passes through the trochlea. The old name before this name, obliquus superior, old name of this muscle is musculus trochlearis. What nerve will innervate? Trochlear nerve. This innervate abducens, this trochlear. All other oculomotor. An oculomotor nerve inside the orbital cavity is divided in 2 branches. Superior, inferior. Oculomotor superior ramus, oculomotor inferior. Superior, what 2 muscle innervates? These 2. Rectus superior and levator palpebral superior. Inferior innervates 3 muscles. Rectus medialis, rectus inferior, and obliquus inferior. But remember, this is mixed nerve. Oculomotor nerve is mixed, which comprises parasympathetic fibers from accessory nuclei. This Edinger-Westphal nuclei. Parasympathetic portion will pass together with inferior branch. Ramus inferior is mixed. But this oculomotor portion, parasympathetic portion of oculomotor nerve, is called radix oculomotorius. Radix oculomotorius. Vegetative portion, I will show on vegetative picture of this nerve. Just a minute. Vegetative innervation of the eye. The most difficult picture for student for explanation, vegetative. Now, on the way of the optic nerve, on lateral side, inside the orbital cavity, laterally from optic nerve, we have vegetative ganglion, ganglion ciliary, ciliary ganglion. This is inferior branch of oculomotor nerve. Nervus oculomotorius, its inferior branch, which contains radix oculomotoria. Radix oculomotoria is parasympathetic portion, which is separated from inferior branch, which goes to the somatic muscle. This parasympathetic nerve come to vegetative ganglia, and here inside from synapse on neurons vegetative of this ganglia. And postganglionic fibers through the nervi ciliaris brevis pass inside the eyeball to the ciliary body, musculus ciliaris, and to the iris, musculus sphincter pupillae innervate these smooth muscles. Radix oculomotoria. Remember, this portion is parasympathetic portion of oculomotor nerve. Radix oculomotoria. It is not marked anywhere. Here you have not. It is not complete. Very good initial part, but continuation must be what nerves branches give, what innervates. Have you continuation?
I think so.
What innervates? Continuation. Zone of innervation. Muscle of the eye, да? Eyeball. Superior, inferior. Вот. Инесса Георгиевна не могла не дать. Да? Third, fourth, sixth. Do you understand these pairs? Turn your attention that oculomotor is motor nerve, but mixed motor. It has two types motor nerve. Somatic for skeletal, striated muscle, and smooth muscles inside. Smooth muscle innervated through parasympathetic nuclei, parasympathetic root, radix oculomotoria fibers, which separated from inferior. It is mixed motor nerve, in distinction from fourth and sixth. They are true motor, only motor. It is mixed motor. Next is fifth pair, fifth, trigeminal nerve. You will describe nuclei, you will describe projection of this nuclei, describe the site of emerging from the brain. From what side of the brain emerges this nerve? Trigeminal nerve appears between pons and middle cerebellar peduncle. Between pons and middle cerebellar peduncle. On linea trigemina facialis, special line. It appears by two roots, radix. One root is called radix sensoria, the major root. Small portion is radix motoria. It has three sensory and only one motor. That is why what fibers are bigger. Sensory, very, very good table. Хороший. Good study accordance with this. All points complete. Each nerve study. And after this, radix sensoria, radix motoria, nerve, all this part of the brain, all this, were located in the skull cavity, were located. This brain stem here, were located. This here, hypothalamic region, the diencephalon. Peduncles, pons, and medulla oblongata were located in the skull cavity. Show me. On this part. Clivus. All these are located on clivus, and medulla oblongata from here. That's trigeminal nerve appears about here and goes to impressio trigeminale. Here we have trigeminal impression, where this nerve forms sensory ganglia. Ganglion trigeminale, trigeminal ganglion. Ganglion trigeminale. Where is located? Ganglion trigeminale in impressio trigeminale. Semi-lunar ganglion, semi-moon shape ganglion, which is located on the duramate to form cavum trigeminale, inside of which lie all sensory ganglia of cranial nerves, all sensory ganglia of spinal nerves. What type of cells contain? All sensory ganglia. What type of cells contain? Spinal ganglia and the same cranial nerve sensory ganglia. Spinal ganglia, what type of cells? Last class is the first neuron in spinal ganglia. What structure? By structure, what nerve cells? Pseudo-unipolar cells. One cell body, one process which is divided into two. The same processes we have here. The same process. You must understand. Look, just here I will draw. Give me blue and red color. Pencil. Blue and red. Okay. So, thank you. And a pencil, if you know pencil. No, pencil for drawing of rhomboid fossa. I will small draw rhomboid fossa, stria medullaris, and here we have one motorius, no, sulcus limitans also, да, eminentia media. One motor nucleus and three, it has one motor and three sensory. One is continuous, one is tractus spinalis, and another is tractus mesencephalicus. Это tractus spinalis this, and tractus mesencephalicus is above. After arising, we say that it forms this semilunar ganglion, which contains what cells? Look, schematically I will draw these. They bring impulses to the, but the dendrite will go in this free direction. Да? Do you understand? This type of cells. Pseudo-unipolar. They are located, here we have 25, 45,000 cells. But schematically draw 1, 2, 3 cells. They are axons. All sensory nerves, they pass into the brain, yes? Sensory, they are axons. The central process pass through the pons into the brain and come to what nucleus spontaneous, to the tractus spinalis and mesencephalicus. Their peripheral process will pass through fissura orbitalis superior, through foramen rotundum, through foramen ovale. Yes? And form 3 branches. First, ophthalmic, second, maxillary, and third, mandibular. Motor portion of this nerve will pass only under this ganglion without participation, under this ganglion, and goes with the only third branch. First and second, they are true sensory. Third branch is mixed, because third goes to the mandible and masticatory muscles, and accessory they attach on mandible. Only mandibular is mixed. And all nerves, first branch passes through fissura orbitalis superior, second through
Foramen rotundum.
third through ovale. After this trigeminal, it forms 3 branch trigeminal. That's 5th pair. Sorry, I drew on trigeminal. Where I drew? Because here I find place. Да, ну это for trigeminal, да, picture. Sorry. Да. Trigeminal nerve. This. It is the 5th pair. Only this. Nerve is very short, motor and sensory. This is branch. They are branches of the nerve. Nerve trunk is short. It has radix sensoria, radix motoria, and after this ganglion, it is immediately divided into 3 branches. Each branch passes through, and each branch gives meningeal nerve, ramus meningeus, 1 branch, ramus meningeus, and only this gives ramus meningeus after rising. And on the way of each nerve lie ganglion, vegetative ganglion ciliare, ganglion ptericopalatina, and here we have 2 ganglion, ganglion oticum and ganglion sublinguale, submandibulare. 2 ganglion. It is common for all branches.
Excuse me, teacher. The trigeminus is actually just one nerve, or it consists of 2?
It is one nerve, consists of sensory and motor portion. It arises by 2 roots. One root, motor root, another root is sensory, but together under the name trigeminal. No, if you see on preparation, it is not visible, these 2 portions. But we distinguish these 2 portions. But it is white color nerve, and small portion is motor. Yeah? The big portion is nervus trigeminus. Only this part from nuclei until between nuclei and ganglion, it is nervus, and then it forms 3 branches which leave through this side. of the skull. And then you will describe each branch. Ophthalmic, what branches, what innervates. Да? It gives frontalis, lacrimalis, nasociliaris. What branches they give, you will study. Ophthalmic nerve here in atlas, each branch is described. Ophthalmic nerve, nervus ophthalmicus passes inside and gives nervus frontalis. These 3 branches of the first nerve give 3 branches. Frontalis, which goes to the supraorbital and supratrochlear, to the forehead skin. Lacrimalis, to the lateral. Here we have fossa glandula lacrimalis, to the lateral side, and to the medial side, superior medial. Nasociliaris, 3 nerves it gives. Nasociliaris. This is nasociliaris nerve, nervus nasociliaris. This is frontalis, this is lacrimalis. Nasociliaris, frontalis, lacrimalis. All these 3 arise from nervus ophthalmicus. Don't turn to this nerve, it is this trochlearis, foveal. Only 1, 2, 3. Branch of ophthalmic, and each nerve what innervates. But on the way of this nerve, what ganglion lies? Ganglion ciliare. And the nearest nerve, nervus nasociliaris, send branches to the sensory. It is vegetative ganglion. Sensory branches only transit pass without interruption. Here interrupted only radix oculomotoria from oculomotor nerve. But sensory from nasociliaris pass and innervates the sensory tunic of the eyeball. And the muscles also inside. Sensory innervation inside the drifts to give nervus nasociliaris, rami ganglionaris, and then continue as nervi ciliaris brevis, but it also gives ciliaris longi, the ciliary nerve, innervate eyeball, sensory innervation of the eyeball. Lacrimalis innervates lacrimal gland. Frontalis innervates upper part, forehead, and also medial part of the palpebra and root of the nose. It appears as rami palpebra medialis and infratrochlear nerve. Do you understand? First branch. Second passes through foramen rotundum. Immediately pass into what fossa? It is one of communication of fossa ptericopalatina. You must revise this fossa and all communication. Through the foramen rotundum passes in fossa ptericopalatina, and from here it meets ganglion ptericopalatinum, which lies in this fossa. Next branch picture is this. Second ganglion, it passes through foramen rotundum, fossa ptericopalatina, and after this fossa continues in 2 directions. Do you remember first ophthalmic, on what wall it spread? Superior, superior medial, superior lateral. By exception of inferior lateral. This part, the second, maxillaris, will innervate. That is why it gives 2 branches. One branch along the inferior wall, as what nerve? Infraorbital. And one branch goes along the inferior lateral, as zygomatic. And also gives branches to the ptericopalatinal ganglion. These 3 branches gives nervus maxillaris, rami ganglionaris, rami zygomatici, and nervus zygomaticus, nervus infraorbitalis, and rami ganglionaris to this ganglion ptericopalatinum, which transit will pass. After this ganglion, these fibers will spread into the nasal cavity and oral cavity through canalis palatinus major, nervus palatinus major, and also minor it gives. And through foramen sphenopalatinatum, they pass into the nasal cavity and gives rami nasalis posteriores, superiores, medialis, et lateralis, and greater palatine gives nasalis inferioris. To the nasal cavity and to the soft and hard pellet supplies branches. This. But zygomaticus and infraorbitalis continues. Infraorbitalis appears through the sulcus canalis on the anterior surface, and spread here gives external nasal, superior labial, and inferior palpebral branch. Pes anserinus minor. Small goose step, so called. Goose step. Do you know goose step?
Yes.
They spread here to the inferior palpebral. Yeah? Three direction, nasal, external, and superior labial region. You must remember site of arising of the nerves. This inferior palpebral, external nasal, and superior labial. Site of emerging of the cutaneous branches of trigeminal nerve. Remember, on the face, each point when you will touch, what nerve innervates? Trigeminal. We have not another nerve sensory on the face. Only trigeminal. But what branch? Forehead region and eyeball. First branch, ophthalmic. This region, maxillaris. And this, the cheek region, chin region, mandibularis. Study these maxillaris branches, then mandibularis branches. All branches you study. Mandibularis, it has... Нелли Алексеевна, куда вы дошли? Они уже устали так. Я тоже trigeminal, but I see the face of Sachin and Jishna and Asha. They don't understand. Only CN don't understand. I know, because they don't study CNS, and it is difficult. Cranial nerves, very difficult topic. The most difficult are cranial and vegetative. The last most difficult, it is like apogee, the peak of the top of the anatomy of human body anatomy. Very complicated, because here you must join together knowledge by CNS, vegetative nervous system, cranial nerves all together, and the skull and all together based on. And for neurologists, very important. After in clinic, this point, there are painful points on the face. Neurologists, especially after winter, so many infections, after influenza, after acute respiratory diseases, and after cold, trigeminal neuritis maybe, especially for use from south countries, living so-called Moscow, -20, -40, even maybe. They promise, prognosis give that very cold winter will be this winter. And after cold of the face region, maybe trigeminal neuritis, and very painful, very sensitive the skin of the face, and neurologists give, they check these pain points. Sorry, давайте. This волос уберите, take away your hairs. Take away your hairs. This point in neurology, painful point of Valais. They are from forehead. This point for supraorbital, supratrochlear. This point, infraorbital. If you will press, you can feel pain. Nervus infraorbitalis, more deeply. And the zygomatic region, nervus zygomaticus leaves through zygomatico-orbital canal to the zygomatico-facial and zygomatico-temporal region. Zygomatic nerve, it is branch of trigeminal. The cheek region, nervus buccalis. This region, nervus mentalis. Site of arising of skin branch, cutaneous branches of the nervous, different branches of the nervus trigeminus. It is very important. And auriculotemporalis arises in front of the external acoustic meatus. On the way of this nerve, what name has this for zygomatico-orbitalis? Zygomatic nerve, it goes along the lateral wall. Infraorbital goes along the inferior wall. By the way, supplies the teeth, upper alveolar plexus, dental plexus form. Each teeth under the periosteum of maxilla nerve pass to each teeth. Superior alveolar, posterior, these middle alveolar superior branches and anterior alveolar superior branches gives, and they together form dental plexus, supply the maxillary sinus, infraorbital. But zygomatic nerve, which goes along the lateral wall, reaches zygomatic orbitalis foramen, and inside the zygomatic bone divided two branches. Into what branch? Zygomatico facialis, and here zygomatica temporalis, and supply the skin of lateral facial region and temporal region. Zygomatica temporalis, zygomatica facialis. And this is zygomatica orbitalis. But zygomatic nerve receives from ganglion ptericopalatina. Here you can see ganglion ptericopalatina. Where is located? In fossa ptericopalatina. On the way of maxillaris, what ganglion lies? On the way of ophthalmic nerve, what ganglion? Ciliare. On the way of maxillaris, we have ganglion ptericopalatinum. On the way of each nerve, we have vegetative ganglion. Trigeminal has not vegetative fibers. It sends only sensory fibers to this ganglion, which innervate through the ganglion, then pass to the nasal oral cavity. But this ganglion receives vegetative fibers from the sebum pair, from nervus facialis, from its nervus canalis pterygoide radix facialis. It receives ganglion, preganglionic fibers. Here interrupted, postganglionic fibers. Turn your attention. Zygomatic takes and passes to the lacrimalis. That is why it is called this branch of zygomatic nerve. It not only supplies this skin and this skin, it lies near the ganglion ptericopalatina, but lacrimal gland must receive for secretion. Lacrimal nerve, what fibers give to the lacrimal gland? Sensory, pain, temperature, touch, but no secretion. Secretory fibers receive vegetative fibers from vegetative ganglia. Zygomatic lies here, lacrimalis here. It is so far from lacrimalis. That is why zygomatic, it takes these fibers and passes to lacrimalis. What name have this branch of zygomaticus? It is communicating branch. Ramus communicans cum nerva zygomatica. Communicating between lacrimal and zygomatic branch. Ramus communicans cum nerva zygomatica. The third branch is nervus mandibularis, passes through foramen ovale, and just below the foramen it gives first sensory branch, ramus meningeus, which through the foramen spinosum passes inside and divides into meningeal branch, supplies the dura mater in middle cranial fossa. The third branch is next picture here. Under the foramen ovale lies ganglion oticum. To this ganglion it gives ganglion oticum. Medially from this nerve, ganglion oticum lies. It gives rami ganglionaris to this nerve, which then pass after the ganglionic branches. Transit pass through this ganglion to the parotid gland. What branches? It is mixed nerve, motor and sensory. It gives 5 sensory branches. 5. Mandibular nerve gives 5 sensory branches. One is meningeal, ramus meningeus, which here I don't know. Through foramen spinosum. Clean this. Foramen spinosum. It is better clean here and draw here. Transplace this сюда later, because it is not correct under the trochlearis. Despite we have this arrow, but it is not good for you. Then, in 5 wood branches, it gives meningeal branch. Then it gives 5 branches temporalis. It is from facial plexus, parotid plexus of facial nerve. 5 branches of nervus mandibularis are ramus meningeus. Then nervus buccalis, infraorbitalis. It is from maxillaris. Then nervus lingualis. Then nervus alveolaris inferior. Then nervus auriculotemporalis. Auriculotemporal nerve. Meningeus, buccalis, lingualis, alveolaris inferior, which is mixed, and auriculotemporalis. And describe all these nerves, what they innervate. Buccalis innervate skin and mucosa in the region of the cheek. Lingualis innervates anterior 2/3 together with 7 pair for the tympani, innervates anterior 2/3 of the tongue, sensory innervation. Then alveolaris inferior passes inside the mandibular canal, but before the motor portion separated, nervus mylohyoideus, which lies in the groove for innervation of mylohyoid muscle and anterior belly of digastricus muscle, innervated by nervus mylohyoideus. It is separated from alveolaris inferior. Alveolaris inferior is sensory, which innervate plexus dentalis inferior, but from this region it gives nervus mentalis sensory to the skin of the chin region and inferior labial. But mandibularis, nervus mandibularis, has motor portion. What branches gives this motor portion? 4 pairs of the masticatory nerves, temporalis, muscles, masticatory muscles, temporalis, masseter, pterygoideus medialis, pterygoideus lateralis. Auxiliary masticatory muscles, they are mylohyoid and anterior belly of digastricus. They are all innervated from this motor nucleus. And also 2 tensor muscles, tensor veli palatini, tensor membranum tympani. This is trigeminal nerve. On the way of the lingualis, also located ganglia, ganglion sublinguale or ganglion submandibulare, it is the same. Through these ganglia, sensory branches sent to the sublingual submandibular salivary glands. 7 pair, next, 6 we have described, abducens, rectus lateralis innervated. 7 pair, facialis, 8 pair vestibulocochlearis, 9 pair glossopharyngeal, 10 vagus, 11 accessories. Мы перерыв будем делать или нет? Они отупили уже. Ну, наверное, сейчас лучше сделать, потому что уже 7-ю пару объяснять или как? Ну, вы не дошли до перерыва? Ну, я тоже, но вот когда будем делать перерыв, скажи? After break.